We've recently found ourselves at a critical cross section: effective healthcare, racial equality, and the need to truly rediscover and understand our history from all sides. Author Chip Jones joins us today to share his newest book, The Organ Thieves, the First Heart Transplant in the Segregated South. Hi, Chip.
Hi, Andres.
It's a pleasure to be with you today. Especially in this day and age, the emphasis on history and how that affects exactly where we are today and how we need to proceed in the future is extremely important. And you previously wrote this book, The Organ Thieves, the shocking story of the first heart transplant in the segregated South. And it tells the stories that have taken place even in local Richmond. So tell us about the book.
So, Andres, this is a story of a man named Bruce Tucker, a working man in Richmond, Virginia, who in May 1968 happened to be celebrating with some friends after a week of work, suffered an accident where he fell off a wall, was rushed to the emergency room at the nearest hospital, the Medical College of Virginia. He was talking, he was conscious, his vital signs were good. He stayed in the hospital overnight. And within hours of his admission, by late the next afternoon, he was pronounced dead. His heart was removed from his body without any prior consent, without his family's awareness of it, and was put into the chest of a white man. And Bruce Tucker's kidneys were also taken from his body without any consent or knowledge of his family. That's how the book begins.
Incredible story. And, something that certainly will give you pause as you're thinking about just the injustice there. And so now we're looking at, current day, current time, and how stories like that affect where we are. So what would your take be on that topic, as well as how we proceed now within COVID-19 in communities where we're experiencing unprecedented losses, and how we move forward?
Sure. Well, there's a whole lot of questions there, and they're good ones. And I think they all fall under the umbrella of addressing racial injustices and inequalities over time throughout the United States in the healthcare system. And the book brings that out across the country, not just Richmond, although that's the epicenter of the story, from Boston, Harvard University, Columbia, in New York City, down through Philadelphia, Baltimore, and into Richmond and further south. Medical schools were basically, I learned this through my 3 years of investigative reporting, they were built on the backs of the bodies of Black Americans. How did that happen? It happened by using what were called grave robbers or body snatchers, or their preferred term also was resurrectionists, which is a strange term that the readers will learn more about when they read the whole book. But it captures the injustice and also the fear that these practices from long ago still lead up to today, where a number of African Americans did not want to get tested for COVID because of fears of the healthcare system.
And of course, in the process of the protest and the conversations, we have also seen a need for changes within the healthcare system. What is your take on what the activists are calling for? In some cases, even an overhaul to try and correct some of the issues we're seeing.
Well, I know locally at what's now Virginia Commonwealth University, I know the School of Medicine is working to address a number of these factors, and these are risk factors for everyone, but particularly the African American community. They're called the social determinants of good health, and this goes far outside of just seeing a doctor. Good food, prenatal care, and trying to address all of the underlying causes that led to the higher death rate during the COVID crisis, such as diabetes and hypertension. So these are the kinds of things that they are being discussed and they are being addressed. And my book looks at the positives by the end that are happening locally, but it also digs deep and doesn't pull any punches into what happened, and particularly what happens in the case of Bruce Tucker and his family.
Well, it sounds like your book is such an incredible resource, telling a true story understanding what was happening in a land not far away from where I'm sitting, even right now, and to also understand what we can do or what we should be paying attention to the future. And that's so important. So we've got to make sure that we get our hands on this book as well. So how can we do that in August when it's released?
So on Tuesday, August 18th, locally here in Richmond, it's for sale at 4 to 6 p.m. down in Carytown at Chop Suey Books, the wonderful independent bookseller across the street from the Bird. And nationally, it's available through all the typical online retailers.
Fantastic.
You can get a signed copy from me on August 18th. It's the only local sign. It's COVID friendly. We'll have a shield up. We'll have people distance. We'll be wearing masks. So I invite, all of your viewers to come out to Chop Suey Books, 4 o'clock, August 16th.
Well, I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy and to really be enlightened. Thank you for all of your work. Thank you for your investigative journalism yet again. We are certainly going to be excited to see what you have in store for us.
I really appreciate it, Andreas. It's very kind of you.
For those of you who are interested in learning more about Mr. Chip Jones, as well as his book and the ways that you can take advantage of the social distancing book signing, we'll be posting more information on our website at WTBR.com/BTM.